Well, hey there, it's Joe with Sonic Disruptive. How are you? I'm good. Queensryche. Queensryche are a band that are in my DNA. One of the bands that I first gravitated towards. In fact, I would say Rage for Order is my favorite album of all time. Spanning all musical genres and every band, every album. I think Rage for Order is my favorite thing I've ever heard in my life. It's still fresh and it's still amazing to this very date. It never ages, and I can never not listen to it. So, Queensryche released a new album October 7th via Century Media Records, and it is Digital Noise Alliance. Now, I've had somewhat of an interesting relationship with the band for the last 10 years or whatever. Y'all know the story. We don't need to go into it. Jeff Tate out, Todd LaTorre, the new vocalist, in. He's been the new vocalist for 10 years now, I think, or more. And they've released 3 records prior to this one. And you know what? Every one of those albums were good. I have not a bad thing to say about them. But for some reason, they didn't get under my skin. And I mean that in a good way. They didn't become part of me. While I was listening to them, I was like, yeah, this is good. But for some reason, I never really felt compelled to go back and revisit them very often. I do, because I'm thinking I must have missed something, because these are all very good musicians and good songwriters. But every time I do, I like it, but there's not a real deep connection. So Digital Noise Alliance comes out. I listened to it a couple times, and I'm feeling kind of the same way about it. It's like, wow, this is good, but is it gonna stick? About the third listen, boom, it stuck, and it stuck big time. And now I love this album. I feel like it is the perfect kind of blending of modern Queensryche with the past. I don't feel like it's trying to rip off the past in any way, and I don't feel like it's trying to forget the past. It's incorporating both elements, and it's doing it very well. There are so many moments on this album where it's just, I listen to it and I hear it and I'm like, that's just so Queensryche for me. Some of the highlights here. Lost in Sorrow is excellent. Just a cool, kind of a classic sounding, just chord progression. It's just got these very cool slashing chords. And it's not that new. I've heard it before, but every time you hear that, it always sounds good. And that is a great song. Then Sick Death is a great song as well. Behind the Walls is good. Nocturnal Light is a true highlight here. I love that song. I just love the circling nature of it. It just weaves in and out. And this album really brings out bassist Eddie Jackson's songwriting abilities, because he's the sole songwriter of Nocturnal Light. He's also the sole songwriter of Realms as well. And they're both just these great sounding Queensryche, progressively tinged songs that just weave in and out kind of in a dreamy state. And those are 2 great songs. Out of Black is very cool. Forest is a nice ballad. And maybe one of the most Queensryche sounding songs I've heard in a long time is Tormentum. Excellent song. It's over 7 minutes long, and it's just so damn good. Now, guitar, that's where it's at. That's the most important musical instrument ever created, obviously, and it is in spades here. The guitar work is splendid. The guitar tones are great. So many excellent guitar solos and harmonized guitar solos and everything that you want from Queensryche. Everything that you fell in love with from classic Queensryche albums, it's all here and it's all good. Todd's vocals are on point. They sound so good. He's got all these inflections and hits these high notes, and he can go anywhere at any time. And he really is just a huge part of this album. The voice, and there are moments. Obviously, it sounds like Queensryche, so you're going to reminisce, and you're going to definitely hear a lot of similarities with Geoff Tate. There's no getting around that, right? But there's also many moments here where he has his own very distinctive thing going on here. And he's got this really harshness that he goes into in some moments, and I love that. Like in Sick Death, he really does it very well. More of a Iron Maidenness type deal, and it's got that galloping feel. And this is just a really solid, more than solid. This is a top tier Queensryche album from any generation. This is an album that I will go back to and listen to all the time, right along with Rage for Order, right along with Operation Mindcrime and Promised Land. You know, there's some Empire vibes here, but it's really its own thing. And I think as fans, it's easy to kind of make comparisons with other albums from the past, but sometimes we need to kind of let that go and let the newness come, you know, like this isn't just a complete throwback, but there are moments where you definitely hear it. And Michael Wilton has a ton of writing credits all over this album, and you can hear it, those riffs, those melodic, great single note guitar passages are scattered throughout this album and are used to a phenomenal effect. So yeah, there you go. Queensryche, Digital Noise Alliance is a fantastic album by the band. If you were ever a fan of this band, I can't see anybody not loving this album. Which is my own personal take, but I can't see, if you leave any biases of band members and stuff aside, like if that sound is something that you love, this album has all of that sound, and it sounds terrific, fantastic, mixes the future with the past, and it is top tier Queensryche album. It really is. I did a ranking of their albums. Geez, it might have been my first video I ever did on this channel. I think I have to redo that, because this album will really come into play in the top 5. So there it is. Buy it. It is great. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.